Hey, UpNorthGuy here. Going to talk about maintenance on the mid-mount mower deck for my 54D Autoconnect deck. Now's the time to do it. Winter's over. Wasn't much of a winter, but it's over. Spring's coming, and now's the time to do the maintenance. Hey, I've done a bunch of videos about the mid-mount mower on my channel. First one I did was just on the pros and cons of it, because there's definitely some advantages. There's also some cons and disadvantages with it as well. Did one on just how to remove the deck and put it back on again. It does say auto connect, but really there's not a lot of auto about it, so a number of steps that you need to know in order to get it on and off, so check out that video. And then lastly, just one on mowing, how to use it to mow on the 2025 with the deck on. But today we're going to be talking about maintenance, what you got to do in the off season. So let's get started. All right, this is the way I left it after the season was over last year. You can see there's a bunch of gunk underneath each one of these mower blades here. I'm just going to kind of blow that out first. Then we're going to take off these little covers here and get in there and make sure we get that all cleaned out. I'm using these little dollies to roll it around on. One of the cons definitely was, or is with it, when you drive over it and you drive off it, the thing is sitting on the ground, very heavy to move around unless you have these load and go brackets. Now, load and go brackets are great, but they don't have one that works for my deck, which is the 54D deck and a 2018 model. The newer models, you can use the load and goes. Basically, you put your loader right up on here on top of this. There's a bracket that replaces this on either side. Much easier to move around. I did a video on that as well, but it doesn't work for my model deck. So I'm using these little, I guess you call them snowmobile dollies, kind of push the whole thing around. You can, once you get it up on there, move it around pretty easily. I got that grass and gunk out of there as best I could. So now I'm just going to take these little covers off here and get in there and clean out the rest. You can see there's a bit more of the gunk that gets in there, but actually the blower got most of that out there, so that one looks pretty good. Gonna go do the other side the same way. Alright, so I got both sides cleaned out. I'm just gonna go put these little covers back on here and just drop right over there. Again, if you were using the load and go brackets, this whole assembly, this part here would be replaced by the bracket that can actually hook right up to your loader directly. Now we're going to do the greasing, and there's 3 points to grease. There's one right on top of each one of these blades, one in the middle, and then one right there. The grease gun I like is this Lock and Lube. This is the one that it's got a kind of unique sort of end to it that will clip on there. I find that it's really easy to use and locks in there really nicely. And then you want to use the John Deere grease. There is a recommended grease for greasing the mower. I'll put the name in here in the video. I'm just going to open this thing up, stick it right down on that zerk there. Gets a good connection, and you're just going to hit it with, I usually do about 3 or 4 hits in each one of these. Show you this one here, get that on there. That's where the Lock and Lube is great, I think, because you can just, you're sure that it's on there. Other times, other grease guns I've used, you're not really sure if the thing is connecting or not, but this thing seems to do a really nice job. All right, so that's it. We've greased up the deck, pretty simple to do. Also got to grease the PTO shaft, which is what is going to connect up to the mower deck. We'll go do that next. The 3 grease fittings you got to hit on the mid-PTO. There's like one near the back, close to the tractor, one in the middle, and then one on the front. So we'll go try to find those now. Well, I can see the one in the middle, the easiest. That's this little guy right on top here. I'm going to go do that one first. That's on there. A couple hits of grease. There we go. Actually see it coming out the front there a little bit. Well, supposedly there's another grease fitting back there, but honestly, I cannot see it. And I don't really have a good way to get at it. So I check with my dealer, or I guess if anybody knows on these mid-PTOs, how do you get to the grease zerks in the front and the back? Go ahead and put a note in the comments. Let me know. All right, so I just stood up the deck on its side. It's a little bit hard to do with one person, but it does kind of come up and sit down basically on the casters, the back of the casters here by itself pretty well. And once you get it up, it's easy to get underneath here. Just going to take a file to these blades here and then file them off. So I got them all done. Kind of a cheaper way just to file it with a file like I've done there, but it works for me. It's just a simple file you can get from any hardware store and just rub it on there. I mean, the type of cutting I do with it, it's almost like a brush hog for me. It's not really any kind of finish cutting. I'm not doing lawns or anything like that. Sort of like prairie grass, I go through small twigs, I clear the trails, so there's a lot of sticks and stuff on there, so I'm not surprised that, you know, this gets a little beat up like that. But, you know, once a year to come in here, beginning of the season, to sharpen it really does help the cutting performance. All right, greased up, lubed up, sharpened up, all ready to go for another season. I do take the tractor to my dealer every year. He'll hit any of the grease zerks that I can't hit on there, but I got all the ones that I can do, and that's been working for me. Hey, if you like the video, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up. Drop in a comment in there, especially if you got a different technique for doing this without you know, having any kind of load and go brackets to pick up your deck there. Check out my channel, it's UpNorthGuy on YouTube. I got plenty of videos on the 2025 how-tos, product reviews, life and living up here, beautiful northern Michigan.